my cousin from New York got the virus, and he recovered.
Yeah.
My aunt got the virus, he recovered. So it's like I've been I luckily I thank God I haven't had it, but I have people that I know that have it, and to see him on TV going like, yeah, we're doing great. It's like we're not. We
Mm.
need help.
Hello, my name is Mate, and you have tuned into episode 14 of the In-Betweeners Checkup. Today, I am joined by Andrew Velez, who is going to share, I guess, a bit into his story over the last little bit, how he's been working through more recent circumstances, and I'd like to think might offer a little bit of joy in what is otherwise a difficult time for a lot of us. So over to you, Drew.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here and to get my story out. I am from Orlando, Florida. Orlando is pretty much iconic in tourism and hospitality. So I work for a big hotel chain, doing line cooks for breakfast, lunch, taking care of the guests. So I've been technically furloughed is the term that they've been using since March 14th. So I haven't worked since then. So pretty much I've been doing my own thing. I've been pretty much trying to perfect my culinary skills when I'm pretty much cooking at home or for my friends. I do have a podcast too. So I've been working on that more at a creative standpoint with my co-host Matt. So, but it's weird because I'm in the state of Florida, and it's been interesting.
So I guess, look, and to be fair, my own role sort of finished up in March, and I've kind of been working on building something in the background, and it's only really just getting going now. For yourself, in terms of so creating some kind of structure and routine around your life, what is it you've kind of looked to implement there?
So I've been actually been trying to do better my frame of mind lately, if that makes sense. I own a house, so me and my wife, we've decided, since we have this time, off, that we decided, what, we're going to better the house. So we painted our whole house. The whole house is painted.
Yeah.
So we've been, trying to do odds and ends here. We've been reading more,
Yeah.
and reading right now is really weird. But we just try to spend time. For the first few months since we were in the stay at home, it was weird because you think back in January where we all were. It's like normal, can go out without a mask or go to the theme parks. And from March on till now, it's just it feels like I'm in a pause situation.
Yeah.
Like I'm on a game pause, so I'm just there and I'm waiting, but it's like no one's hitting the unpause button. So, but I've been finding more new things to do. I am a cook, so I tend to cook more. So I've just been doing that lately.
Yeah. And what sort of, out of interest, what sort of food do you tend to cook yourself?
Well, I'm Puerto Rican, but I love Asian food.
Okay.
I'm cooking lots of Asian food. Like last night, I cooked honey garlic lemon chicken with mozzarella covered asparagus. It can turn out really good.
Yeah.
I tend to cook things that, when I look at the recipe, I'm like, can I tackle this? Can I challenge myself? So I made a lot of stuff. I made from like beef empanadas to like a Vietnamese steamed bun filled with barbecue pork, stuffed mushrooms. So I've been doing like here and there, but my main thing is Asian food, and my wife gets sick of it sometimes, but it's, she gets to eat, so it's okay.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, I mean, I know here a lot of people were sort of struggling a bit because they've been so used to the convenience of going out and eating or getting takeaways in times, and a lot of those services closed, so they were finding that they had to cook themselves. And then when these places reopened, there were just these massive queues down the road for these items because people had been without. So I guess it doesn't sound like your wife's necessarily missing out on good food during this time, as it were.
No, yeah. She's been telling me, like, you've grown a lot with cooking and through like being handy, because I'm not a handy guy, but I changed the car battery the other day. I've like fixed a lawnmower, and it's like, okay, all right, like I know that this year's been like really bad, but honestly, like kind of personal standpoint, I've been bettering myself with a lot of like, I guess, self learning, and I've just been focusing like on that more.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, it's often during these times when we're challenged or put in the uncomfortable that we truly can grow, because we have to step outside our comfort zone and try things for the first time, and because we don't necessarily have those people we can call on at this time. I mean, it's almost in some ways a little bit like the throwback to the old days where we all tended to do things for ourselves because we didn't have the convenience of just picking up things from down the road. And in respect to, I guess, you talk about bettering yourself. I mean, with this, I'm going to call it downtime as such, there can be a certain amount of self-reflection, as it were, and perhaps a time to recharge one's own batteries because they're not caught up in the busyness of life. I guess in terms of self-reflection, as it were, are there things that you've kind of been able to create intention around in terms of further development outside the culinary skills?
Yeah, I've been during this time, I've really been thinking about, where my career's heading to, and where can I go, or like 5 years from now, how is everything going to be? Because I live in Orlando, so theme parks is a big thing for Orlando. So the theme parks, Universal, Disney, and SeaWorld, were all closed from March until June. Disney opened up in August, and it's just weird because even like on the news they fly over like the theme parks, and they show how like no one at Disney and no one at Universal, and it makes me think, it's like, man, it's like a few months ago I actually got an annual pass for Universal. And I'm thinking, like, great, I can go like after work and all that, and exercise and all that. And then it closed. And then it's like, great, I got an annual pass for a park I can't go to until June. But it really gets you thinking, because it's like, I'm very sociable, and I need to talk to people.
Yeah.
So it's been hard for me during this time, because it's like I'm always used to go out with friends or with coworkers, and now it's like I'm at home just sitting down. So I've gotten to appreciate people more during this time. I got to appreciate my family more, because during this time I've actually been with I hang out with my family when it's safe to do so, and it's like you take it for granted.
Yeah.
And during this time is like when you realize, family and friends, you need them, because when you don't have them, it's like, okay, great, what do I do now?
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of that social connection, as it were, how have you gone about making that work within this new dynamic?
A lot of remote talking, like through like Zoom now, and text and messaging on Facebook. It's really weird, because when you text someone, it doesn't. If you say okay, it's you may want to say, yeah, okay, but to the person they may go like, yeah, okay. So you try to like overcome the barriers of that. But it's been really different because I'm not really used to talking with a camera. When I do my podcast, it's mainly audio.
Okay.
So this right here is actually new to me.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it's just through like electronics, and one thing I think about a lot is if this would have happened during like early 90s or 80s, I don't know how that would have worked. It's like there was no computers, there's no cell phones, no Zoom, no virtual schooling. So it's like how are you like how like if you like write like a letter or like a telegram, it's like it's crazy, you know. So and I know this time is really hard, but I'm happy to know that we're fortunate to have things like this to talk to people.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. And I think earlier you sort of mentioned you've got a bit of a funny bone, as it were, and you do a little bit of stand-up as well. Obviously, not so much in the current paradigm, but can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, ever since I've known, people have told me like I'm a really funny guy. I tend to take things that are serious and supposed to be taken serious, but I do my whole spin on things to make it all lighthearted and happy. When you're a cook, you really need like a funny bone because
Yes.
you get orders that you're like, okay, this guy's an idiot, but hey, it's okay. So, but yeah, it's really interesting because when you're an up-and-coming stand-up comedian, you go to open mic nights and they're usually holding bars. So recently, Orlando reopened the bars, but then closed it, like roughly like about 2 weeks into it. So there's been no open mic nights. So it's been really interesting because before this happened, I took a break from it because after a while you kind of need to step away to write your new jokes and new material because sometimes you get kind of stale and people are like it's not really funny. So I stepped away. I'm writing more material, and then this happens. So it's like I have extra time to write more material. There's been Zoom open mic nights, which I really want to see how that works. But yeah, it's just weird because like open mic nights are in bars or coffee shops, and those are the two things that have been closed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, a girl I used to work with turned out she had this amazing voice, and she basically started doing this Friday night karaoke where she'd basically just jump on Facebook and sing karaoke to people, and it just blew up because everyone was kind of at home with nothing to do, and here was this girl kind of putting herself out there. I'm going to say in one sense offering entertainment to people, but just I was just blown away. One, that she had this voice, but two, that she was happy to kind of put what she had out there and share it with the world when people were struggling. So, I mean, there probably definitely, as you say, platforms now which make being able to communicate and offer a bit of lightheartedness a lot more easily. It's just kind of finding, I guess, what's going to work for you in this current paradigm, and go from there. So, all right. So we've got the I guess the cooking, the chefing. Tell me a little bit about the podcast that you've been had going on in the background as well.
Yeah. So roughly about 2 years ago, my best friend, who is also a stand-up comedian, we were around his house the other day. I'm like, you know what? We like horror movies. You like horror movies. I like horror movies. You have these podcasts that talk about really good horror movies like Jason and Freddy and, Leatherface, like all the iconic ones. It's like, but you don't really see love for the B-rated, like, what did I just watch? So I'm like, what would be cool to have a podcast where we purposely watch bad horror movies. We make fun of them, kind of like a Mystery Science Theater type thing, but it's like we watch it and then we do a review of it and a play-by-play of it. He goes, yeah, that's great, but what if we do like a tournament-style March Madness thing at the end of each season? So for our first season, we had like people like Sam from the movie Trick or Treat taking on Clownzilla from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's like what would happen if these two actually meet and kill each other? Let's see like what happens. So we've been doing this for about 2 years, pretty decent. We used to record in person, so we have a mic in front of us and we'll record and just talk up each other. Then when this happened, it's like, okay, I can't leave my house to go over the hill there, and he can't leave his house to come over to where I am. So it's like, what do we do? So I'm thinking, okay, we just gotta improvise, So we've been recording through Hangouts, and we've been using like different sound software, and it's been working actually pretty damn good. It's been to the point where it's our audio's been better and our intros have been better. Because how we open our podcast is we do like a little like skit, hey, this is what we're going to talk about, and we're going to incorporate it into the opening. So recently, what we've been doing is we've been actually recording the episode, and then we'll go, okay, what's the opening going to be about? Because we did the episode, what do you want to do? We did Candyman for one of the episodes. Classic movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, not that bad.
Oh, yeah, not that bad. So we kind of throw in some good ones in there too, because you can't be right. Okay, it's great, but we need palate cleansers during those. So I'm like, Candyman, what can we do for Candyman? And my best friend goes, hey, maybe we can do a thing where, you're just down and out because of this whole pandemic, you can't go anywhere, but I sing a song, saying how, wait a minute, I know this sing a song about the Candyman. And he made a song that was the tune of Candyman from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay. The opening, who can take a sunrise?
Yes.
He took that song, changed the lyrics up, so it's talking about the Candyman from the movie. So what we did was we edited to where we recorded my lines, I recorded his lines, and I mashed them up together, and it flowed. So I'm like, wait a minute, we can use this extra time so we can actually think of the opening for the podcast, so that way it'll flow evenly.
Mm.
So we've been doing that lately. It's been doing really good. Our podcasts have been actually gaining some traction and more listens.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been actually better for the podcast because of this whole thing. So
yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, in essence, we're talking about the difficulties of this current dynamic, but what's coming through is the opportunities that you've had in terms of developing your cooking skills or doing things around the home or building the podcast, as it were. So with perhaps the exception of the stand-up comedy, I feel, although it's an opportunity to write more material, that you've basically taken the situation and said, how can I make the most of it? And that's what you're doing, which is great. And to be fair, it's what anyone can do with any situation, whether they're dealing with lockdown or some other adversity, is how do you kind of turn it around and work with what you have? Because at the end of the day, we can't control necessarily what's going on out there. All we can do is determine how we choose to respond to that. And for some of us, that's gonna be positive, and for others, perhaps not so much. But I think if people who are offering that positivity can get the word out there in some way, shape, or form, then that perhaps help those others there, and shine a little bit of positivity their way, as it were. Now, in terms of, I guess, the cooking and the comedy and the podcast / online platforms, have you given any thought to combining them all?
I've been really thinking about it. I recently got a PC. That's one thing I had time to do too. Is I've always wanted to have build a PC from the ground up.
Okay.
And I finally convinced my wife to get one. Thank God for that. And we actually built a PC in case everything put in, and I have it now. And she's been seeing how good it is and how it's more. You have more freedom to do what you want to do. So I've been really contemplating about doing like kind of like a food blog type thing or like a food YouTube type thing.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm playing with. I would like to do it. It's just I gotta find out how to do it. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've got some great cooking skills, and I might get some recipes off you later. And I mean, there's an opportunity, I guess, to offer a bit of point of difference in terms of that humor element as well. And it sounds like, heck, maybe you can even throw in some movie stuff there as well. Who's to say? But I just feel like these are all elements that resonate with you, and in the current dynamic, bringing those together and offering them to people is probably not such a bad idea. But yeah, as you say, it's kind of working out how to do it, and it's really using this time to make that happen, because in essence we don't really know how long this thing's going to keep going for, and we can kind of sit there and, as you say, wait for things to change, or we can do what we can with what we hold, what we have, and bring about that change for ourselves. So yeah, I'd be keen to see how that sort of progresses, as it were, over the next little bit. All right. In terms of the, I guess, going forward for yourself, outside of what we've just discussed in terms of your work situation, have you given any thought to possibly looking at other, I'm going to say, angles or industries in terms of what you do?
Yeah, I've been in, because it's sad to say this, but the hospitality and travel business right now, it's really in a downturn.
Yeah.
Because of what's been going on. And people have been saying, like, it could take years for us to recover. I mean, could it? I don't know. Like, honestly, no one knows at this point. So, the thing is that culinary is the one thing that will always be there within any industry, because people have to eat.
Yes.
So I've been recently applying for like hospital jobs to cook in the hospital.
Okay.
And just trying to get my foot in there, because I've been out of work since March. The unemployment system here is, to say in nice words, horrible. And it's just, I got approved for it, but it's like, damned if you do, but you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And they keep throwing you curveballs, going like they make you ask trick questions, and if you answer a particular way, they go, oh, well, then you don't need it anymore. So it's been bad, and our government's been bad, and it's just, I can't keep waiting. I love my job, I really do, but in the meantime, I have to get something else, because I like my work ethic is keep doing what you're doing, keep working, and this time off is great. Like, it's great for the first few weeks, but after the fifth month, it's like, okay, I think I'm good now. So I've been doing that. I've been going through going through hospitals, maybe going through some restaurants, because some restaurants are open, but their menus like scaled down from what it was. But that's what I've been doing so far.
Yeah, is there an opportunity to, like, I mean, I can't talk for over there, but in New Zealand at least, there are like these organisations out there which I guess offer almost like not instant dinners per se, but they basically come in a little bag with everything in the right portions and the recipes and everything, and it's just ready to go. So you kind of just put it all together. You don't have to chop or process, or it's just bang, and you come away with these nice meals. And so they have like chefs, I guess, who put together these meals, which then get sent out to the people. So they're not necessarily hospitality businesses per se. It's almost like a food producer or food service.
Yeah, kind of like the Blue Apron type things, like you get like a box full of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not sure they have those here.
Okay.
I'd have them here.
Yeah.
I should look because I guess it that'll be just people prepping, and that's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't know whether, because I mean, for example, can you go to the supermarket over there at the moment?
Yeah, yeah.
You can.
Right now you can go out. You just gotta wear your mask.
Okay.
Stay 6 feet, of
Yeah.
course. You have the people that don't wear a mask and don't stay away 6 feet, and it's like I try to limit the times that I go out. So when I go out to go shopping, I get like a lot of food. That way I don't have to go out more. But yeah, we get to go to the market. You just gotta wear like a face mask. Actually, they just implemented that you have to wear a mask mandate through Orange County and some other counties because some people are not wearing them.
Yeah.
And they're causing problems and troubles. So it's like they had to do the mandate because it's like if you don't have the mask, you cannot go in. So that's been going on. Yeah, but you can go out. It's just you have to wear your mask.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I guess for other people out there who maybe are in a similar situation to yourself, where their work has been, I guess, impacted through the situation, and they're trying to seek a little bit of clarity, or I'm going to say purpose during this time. Do you have anything that you could offer there?
Yeah, it's gonna get better this time. Like the thing is that I know everyone's waiting for this just to blow over. Fortunately, people said that within the first 2 weeks of this, going, "Oh, it's just gonna blow over," and it's been longer than expected. But the one thing I can just offer as anything is just hang in there. Things are gonna get better. It's just gonna take time. Good things come for those who wait. And believe me, it's going to be worth the wait at the end. And 10 years from now, you're going to be telling your friends and your kids or your grandkids on how you survived 2020. You're going to have your memes, all that. So, it's just hang in there. It's going to get better. And just better yourself. Because honestly, after everything goes back to normal, I don't think anyone's going to have time to even do that. So just take advantage. Better yourself. If you want to learn guitar, learn it. Want to learn to play piano, learn it. You got the time. Use it wisely.